Hey guys, Deathy here. If it's the first time seeing my webcam on YouTube, check out my live streams. I'm usually streaming with a webcam. However, I put the webcam today because I wanted to have a discussion with you guys. Something is broken with Deadlock right now and needs to be fixed if we want this game to have a good competitive scene. Now, I already see all the comments coming saying, oh, this is just an alpha, why are you complaining, blah, blah, blah. I want to make it clear that this is purely constructive criticism. I think Deadlock is an awesome game, and I really, really want this game to succeed, which is why I think this mechanic absolutely needs to be fixed before this game can move on. I really hope this video can have a lot of reach so that the developers can look at this and perhaps use some of the ideas I've heard from other members of the community. I want to credit Yams, who's a player that I play with on any servers, who came up with the best solution to this problem. Let's get into the problem itself. The problem itself is a mechanic around how soul sharing works. Right now, in the current meta, if you've been watching the tournament this weekend, the NA tournament, everyone is having people rotate lanes and caching 2 waves. I'm gonna call this double leeching. There's another term that people use that is a little bit less YouTube friendly, and I'm not going to use that term. But this mechanic is essentially where you have one lane that is holding and one lane that is pushing, and then once the lane that is pushing is pushed, that person then rotates to the holding lane, and essentially you have 2 people on your team that are getting double the souls of everyone else. We're going to talk in this video about why this is problematic, the main issues with it, as well as how to fix it. Let's get started. So I'm going to just play some background footage. This video is going to be very lightly edited. The reason for this is because I think having an honest discussion with light editing is the best for this kind of video. The footage that I've got playing in the background is footage of myself in the tournament against Ido's team yesterday. I think this footage best showcases why this mechanic is problematic, because we used it against Ido's team, and Ido's team kind of knew about it, but they didn't really do it, and it was a bit of a knowledge check. So as you can see, I push the wave in our duo lane, then instantly I go to the solo lane, right? And as I'm going to the solo lane, I'm going to get the value of these creeps as well. So you see, they're trying to contest me, but it doesn't matter, because as long as they don't kill me on the rotation, which is very hard to do if I play it safe, then I get the value of both lanes. I'm going to clear this lane as well, so I stay for one more wave. I'm going to push this wave, and then I'm going to go back to the other lane and once again get the double value. While I'm not in the purple lane, my teammate is holding that lane. As you can see, the first item that I go is just boots, because it allows me to go to the other lane faster. I don't need to itemize for the lane. The only thing I itemize for is to be able to move between lanes faster, because that's what kind of matters. Obviously, you know, the more people know about this, the trickier it becomes, but it's still just kind of a stupid mechanic in my opinion. Now, why is it stupid? I'm just going to let the footage play in the back so you guys can kind of observe. The first reason why it's stupid is, as far as we know, and we've tried a bunch of things in scrims. We've tried catching the people on the rotation. We've tried, you know, stacking more people on one side of the map to cause imbalances. We've tried a lot of things. As far as we've tried, there's really nothing that's better than just doing it yourself. Like, the best counter is just to do it yourself. If the enemy team does it and you don't do it, the enemy team insta loses. And you guys will see in the footage in the background, right now, I'm at 1.5k, and Loon, the other player on our team doing this, is at 1.7k, and no one on the enemy team is even close to us. We're at least 1 to 2 waves ahead of them, and it's been 2 minutes. You'll see at the end of the leading stage, more towards 7 minutes, that this lead becomes just completely unplayable for the enemy team. So that's the first reason why it's problematic, is that right now, it doesn't really feel like there's counterplay. If it was one strategy, but there would be some sort of counterplay to it, that would be fine, in my opinion. Like, if you could just like, okay, they can do this, but we can just like be really aggressive or something, that's fine. However, it doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. That's my first issue with it. Let's talk about my second issue with it, which is it limits the display of individual skill in this game. So some players may disagree with this, but as a former Dota player, and I've played a bunch of games, I think that one of the things that makes games truly enjoyable to play and to watch is to have methods to showcase individual skill. Yes, at the end of the day, it's a team game, but I want to be able to showcase that maybe I'm a better player than my opponent. I think that this kind of limits the amount of skill expression that you can have in the laning stage, because it becomes extremely chaotic and it becomes all about rotating. Once again, here I'm just buying healing, right? So I can heal and have faster sprint speed to go to the other lane once again. I don't really think that I'm outplaying my opponent individually in this lane, and I'm sure that the enemy team would agree. I'm sure that they would agree that this feels like a cheesy strat and that it's not fun to play against, etc. And this is the same for viewers. I don't think viewers enjoy watching this at all, because as opposed to like a Dota lane, where let's say you're watching mid lane and let's say you're watching, I don't know, CCNC versus Topson, well, you're going to be watching a 1v1 lane where sure, there's rotation sometimes, but most of the lane is going to be a 1v1 and you'll be able to see, you know, who's playing it better, who's doing the last hits better, who's managing their wave better, all that kind of stuff. Right now, this strat kind of eliminates a lot of that, and it's just about who's doing the rotation slightly better. Another issue I have with it is it feels like it limits the hero pool. So not every hero can do this, right? You need a hero that has good enough movement speed to rotate between the lanes. Basically, the higher the sprint speed of the hero, the better. So for example, Bebop has the highest starting sprint speed in the game. He's very good at doing this. You also need heroes that can shove the wave. Right now, to do this, you need to be able to just basically push the wave as hard as possible. So heroes that have nades, heroes that have a lot of wave clear are really strong at doing this because they allow you to quickly push the wave and then go to the other lane. Whereas heroes that are weaker at doing this just don't benefit as much from the strategy. So it just feels a little wrong when some heroes are just inherently better at doing this weird specific strat. I'm fine with heroes that are better at laning, but usually, you know, they'll have some sort of counterplay. Except the thing is, when you're this far ahead in lane, there is no counterplay. It does not matter how well the enemy team plays. In this match, the enemy team didn't really do the double soaking, or they didn't do it properly. As you can see, we're 5 minutes in and we have a 6k lead. A 6k lead at 5 minutes. That's more than 1,000 souls per minute extra. I have 5k and their highest on their team is 3.6k. And I've gotten like 1 kill. I even died. I didn't even play perfectly. I died and I'm still way ahead of them. And I think that that's just not healthy for the game. These are the main reasons why I think that it's not healthy for the game. Of course, there's a bunch of other things. You know, I think it's just unfun to watch, unfun to play against. But that is just a little bit more subjective. So I'm going to leave that out of the reasons. Now, how do you fix this problem? So I've had a lot of discussions with chat. I streamed all day watching the tournament, talking about the problem, talking about our matches, etc. And realistically, there's a lot of ways to fix the problem. A lot of people had suggestions. Some people suggested, hey, what if the amount of farm that you could get, like let's say that you start in purple lane, you can only get souls from the creeps in purple lane for the first like 10 minutes, for example, right? And the problem with a lot of the solutions is that, yes, they do fix the problem, but on top of fixing the problem, they cause other problems. What I mean by that is that if you limit the amount of souls that you get from other waves, what you're doing essentially is you're punishing people for roaming to other lanes, right? Like nobody's going to roam to other lanes if like it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Like if you can't get any value from the creeps, what's the point? So a lot of the solutions will actually harm the roaming potential. Pretty much every solution that I've seen will significantly harm that. So my personal suggestion, well, actually it's not my personal suggestion, but after seeing all of them, Yams, who was watching my stream, suggested that it should be so that after you get a certain amount of souls from creeps per minute, you should get heavily diminishing returns on getting more souls from creeps. So for example, let's say that usually if lanes were normal and you couldn't do the double leeching, you would be able to get 2 waves per minute, right? Like you would be able to get 2 waves per minute worth of souls, which is 8 troopers, which is whatever amount of souls, you know, like 8 times 75 roughly early on. So you're talking about maybe something like 600 souls ish. So early on, you shouldn't really be able to get more than 600 souls per minute from troopers. Once you're at 600 souls in a specific like minute, then if you get any more souls from troopers, or if you kill any more troopers, you should only get maybe like 10 or 20% of the value. Doing the rotation strat does have some risk to it, like you can get killed on the rotation. There is an element of risk. So if you barely get any souls for doing it, people are going to stop doing it and the game will revert back to its normal state. The only other solution that I could think of is to cause even more imbalances between the different waves crashing times. For example, if you make it so that one wave, I don't know, like crashes at a different time and maybe the timings are weird and you can't really do the rotation, that could be a solution. I'm not sure exactly how that would work. I believe that is what they tried to do when they made it so that the waves meet at the same time, because originally it was even easier to do this strategy than it is now. So if any Valve developers are watching this, I would really appreciate it if you guys think about this and think about if this is the direction that you want the laning stage to have. At the end of the day, if this is a design decision, I don't think this is the right one, but I respect it. But right now, it just feels like a very cheesy strategy that does not feel like it's the intended flow of the game by the developers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty much everyone in my stream, everyone watching, etc., has said that this is not something that feels like it belongs in the game. This is something that feels cheesy. It's something that feels like it shouldn't work, and yet it does. Just to finish it off, if you look at the showcase of the replay in the background, we're now up 13k. We've just, we're up 13k in 10 minutes. The game is over at this point. There's nothing they can do. And this is literally just like, if you don't do it, you insta lose. Like, these players are not worse than us individually. They're not. They're all very good players. They just had no idea that they needed to do this. They didn't know that we were going to do it. And therefore, literally they lost just like that. They had no fighting chance at all. So I thought that this would showcase my point pretty well. Anyway, just want to remind for all the people that are going to maybe hate on this video, I'm really not hating on the game. I'm trying not to be negative. I just want this game to be really good. And I think that the developers need to hear this feedback. And I'm sure that other people have given them this feedback as well. If you'd like the developers to see this, make sure to like, spread the word. Hopefully if this video gets enough views, the developers will see it, and hopefully we'll see some changes within the coming weeks or months. I really appreciate the guys. If you guys are watching this, developers, I really appreciate the work that you're putting into this game, and I want you to keep going. This game is awesome, and I can easily see it lasting for a very long time. Anyways, I'm going to stop rambling. That's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful one.